Welcome back, you bunch of cutie pies. We're in a dark spot, but Stone and I will act as your guiding lights through all of this, even though Stone's tongue is still a little burnt. He's Stone, I'm Sprocket, and the topic on today's docket is Madame, now known as PrincessAsh.
A lot of what we're going to be discussing here is going to be in response of a video made by Ash, which was taken down by Slimmers because Ash thought it was the brightest thing under the sun to use stills Slimmers made in the video, even though she is illegally misappropriating them. But me and Ponder have it downloaded, so we can respond to it without any problems. If you are unaware of the entire situation, you can go check out part 1 over on Sprocket's channel, a link of which will be in the description. Now, on the topic of the video, around the first 38 minutes of the video is her mostly talking about cancel culture and such, so we can skip most of it.
I don't think people need to end up in a coma from taking a shot every time she says fabrication again, although, if you are into that sort of masochism, might I recommend the lovely Succubus Micro Mavies video on it?
One thing we want to bring up before we delve too deep, Princess Ash has claimed that she has BPD, also known as borderline personality disorder. We're bringing this up not to shame or make it seem like she's in the wrong for it. Instead, we want to bring it up as a possible reason behind, well, a lot of what we're going to go over.
Borderline personality disorder is a condition characterized by strong emotional reactions and impulsivity, which can result in strained or stormy relationships, distorted self-image, and dissociative feelings.
It doesn't count as an excuse for most of her actions, but it's something to consider to make a fair judgment. Ash might have a difficulty keeping a restrained emotional state if she gets stressed, and we're not going to hold that against her. Rather, we're going to explore the excuses she made and why they didn't work, why she might have come to certain conclusions on matters, and why she may have reacted in certain ways.
So I had messaged Repsian. I haven't been on Twitter in fucking ages, but I said, "Hi there. I'm unsure if this is a rumor, but a patron of mine DM'd me claiming that you're calling me a liar or something. Firstly, I have a video on the 9th coming up explaining that just because people may dislike my content or me as a character based off of recent fabrications doesn't give them the right to make assumptions or lie about my lawsuit. It will be a very informative hour-long video if you'd like to take a watch. Additionally, I am still in Washington. After filing small claims, you have to appear at the courthouse within 72 hours, so that's what I did. While I did mail paperwork to King County, it was actually the wrong county as I had multiple addresses and was confused. So when I got the proper address, and I accidentally autocorrected to addresses. I addressed that mistake in a previous video. I got things started and I'm happy to be here, but I really don't appreciate being called a liar. This rumor, according to my patron, is true. Hope all is well." Repsian says, "I think it's safe to say people doubting your legal cause is pretty legit. You've given nobody updates, much less you posted about how you're nearly broke in Discord, having to change your online name, etc. And it looks pretty fishy when you've just gotten patron funds for a lawsuit that's apparently ongoing."
The doubt Repsian holds is completely valid, because of Ash's own wording and previous message on Discord.
It'll be a very informative, hour-long video. Yeah, that didn't exactly pan out. Repsion even tweeted about how hiding evidence of the lawsuit, provided you had it, because people thought you were lying about it, was a dumb move and just further made you look like you were guilty. I'm taking this so seriously I can't even edit out my yawning.
Alright. That was a very real situation that no one should be making assumptions about.
But isn't believing that you filed the lawsuit, regardless of no evidence being given, purely an assumption made by those who believe you? An assumption is accepting something as fact without proof. It's not an assumption to think that someone who has demonstrated a track record of lying is potentially lying about something else, especially when they refuse to prove that it wasn't a lie. There is proof that you have lied in the past, which gives people further reason to believe you would lie now, especially because your actions do not align with your claims. It would be an assumption to believe you at this point.
That's like asking someone to not assume you're stealing when you're wearing a black mask and carrying out cakes out of a bakery.
I had to basically say goodbye to people because my phone was literally on 5%, and I kept saying that in the chat. And I was with a girl, and I don't want to get into too many details. This is not a story time. This video is way too fucking long, so I'm going to get to the point. That did not like me or my channel, and I did not know that. And she even told me, like, under a stressful situation, she was downloading my videos so that she could sue me. And I was like, you can't just sue me. This is not how it works.
Yes, and Ash, who can't even grasp the concept of proof of your claim, would know how a hypothetical lawsuit by this girl would work.
I'm going to state this now, a majority of the situations Ash is presenting could have been avoided, but we'll get to that in a short bit.
And she was just, I don't know, it's a weird situation. And I was basically stranded there, and I was at her mercy because it was a road trip. I had a 5% phone, no charger, because I thought I'd be back home literally within 24 hours. I had nothing. My credit card, sure, but without my ID, I couldn't get a hotel or get a plane ticket back, and I really didn't know what to do, and I couldn't just fucking Uber from North Carolina to fucking Florida. I was literally terrified, and how could I Uber when my phone's literally about to die? I just felt like hopeless. And when you have a person that hates you and you're basically at their mercy, screaming in your ear that you're gonna be on the streets, I would believe it.
Look, I'm not gonna berate someone who legitimately might have thought that they were stuck in a foreign state, potentially without anyone to contact. I know that this can be a scary prospect for a lot of people. I am, however, going to question Ash's story at least a little bit.
There are lots of things that Ash says here that do not make a lot of sense. One being, she did not bring her charger with her. Unless she got a new phone that day and didn't know how the battery worked and how powerful it was, I have no idea why she didn't bring the charger with her. And even that, you should bring your charger to make sure you're not stranded by your phone.
Even then, she states that her battery was at 5%, and that would have been still during the time when she was in North Carolina, which means that even if she didn't want to bring her charger because she didn't think she would need it, her phone wouldn't have lasted the entire trip. So she would have needed her charger anyways, unless she expressly chose not to use her phone on the trip back to Florida. Unless maybe the charger was brought along but left in the car when Ash got out, although that does just make me wonder how you managed to get down to 5% battery life sitting in a car with the charger plugged in beside you.
Another being the claim that she couldn't get a hotel because she didn't have her ID with her. That is not how that works. I know for a fact most hotels will take you in without an ID. If you don't have a reservation, they would have no reason to ask for one. I know because I have been to hotels in North Carolina. Most hotels will take cash or even take cards without even an ID, because that's how the business is run. I'll give Ash a benefit of the doubt and say she may not have known this. Everyone gets one.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna rip into her. Even if Ash assumed that she wasn't likely to get a hotel room without her ID, it makes no sense for her to not at least go into one and ask whether that was the case or not. At the very least, why not go in and ask to use their phone or see if someone can lend you a charger so that you can charge your own phone and call for help? Ash's scenario relies on her not only being willfully ignorant, but also effectively operating from a stance of learned helplessness. She just assumes that she can't do a thing and therein doesn't even try to help herself. I don't know, maybe she did, and she's just not telling us about it, but from her assumptions regarding hotels and whatnot, it very much seems like she was just ignoring potential options that could have saved her. And again, I wouldn't fault her if maybe she had anxiety or something and she had difficulty talking to people, but we haven't heard any of that, and that sort of context would be necessary to understanding this situation better.
Basic survival instincts should have kicked in some way, but I have no idea how Ash's mind works, so I can't even be sure she thought it was a possibility.
But on top of that, we still want to acknowledge that she has BPD. This was likely an emotionally taxing time for her. I mean, and I don't know about you, but if someone ditched me in a foreign state, I'd be a little stressed out too. If this was causing her to think in emotional extremes, then she may not necessarily have been actively lying when she claimed that she was going homeless. It may just have been an exaggeration brought about by her fear in the moment.
Someone might still count this as a lie, but it's not really fair to claim that someone was maliciously lying when they may have simply been too scared, or they were not thinking clearly, or couldn't formally address the situation they were right in the middle of. That's like getting angry at a child because they saw a monster in the closet.
The problem is that we don't really know. Maybe if Ash had been a little more forthcoming and just said, yeah, I was scared and panicking, so I panic posted, then people would be way more understanding. At this point, we're just speculating and giving her the benefit of the doubt based on little snippets where we can.
If she'd actually been more open initially instead of immediately closing everything off when she was questioned, people would react to her claims differently. Again, a behavior that could be explained by BPD.
And that's what I did. I was like, shit, guys, I'm actually about to be on the streets. And the reason I said I had to change my alias is because I was like, I don't know, in the moment it was so stressful, and she was just telling me to her, like, delete my shit, and I was like, do I have to, like, I don't know, it was really stressful, all in just one day, And what I did as a result of that was tell my community bye and kind of briefly explain, even though it did look weird, I just wanted, like, I was in a fucking other state, my phone was 5%. You think I'm gonna have, like, time to really think what I'm saying? No, my phone's dying, I'm panicking, I'm having extreme anxiety, I'm about to be on the streets. Of course I'm not going to.
If your phone was on 5% battery life and you thought that you were trapped in another state and potentially unable to get a hotel or get home, why would you even bother updating your social status stuff?
Yeah, I would call the police!
Unless people on your Discord were going to be able to help you get that hotel you so desperately needed, I don't see a reason why you would need to go and ramble on about how you were going homeless. It just doesn't make sense. Aren't you wasting what little battery life you have at that point? I mean, I guess impulsivity could explain it, but it seems a little dishonest to explain away every question with, I was being impulsive.
I would have called my parents, messaged a friend of mine who lives in North Carolina, and see if they can help me, not update my Twitter feed. Don't even get me started on the wording in that post. She said she was going to be homeless in the post, not stranded. Those are two completely different things. It could have been an exaggeration because she was scared. It does not change my opinion.
On top of that, why would you even bother expanding on the whole I might need to change my alias thing? Isn't that rather superfluous when compared to you literally being stranded? I mean, I can understand not knowing what to do if this was a situation you're unfamiliar with, but... oh god, fuck.
What?
I just realized that it would be common sense for a person to not use up the last of their phone battery on Discord if they felt that they were stranded, but we already know that Ash apparently doesn't have common sense.
Yeah, and also the girl couldn't have made Ash delete anything legally. She posted after the situation that the girl could not have done anything to her. So why was she so afraid?
Well, if the situation just happened, then it could have been at the forefront of her mind, causing her to be stressed and thus compounding on the stress from being abandoned. So if she was panic posting about things that were stressing her out, that's two different stressors to mention. I can't even be shocked by this. Ash doesn't understand intellectual property. I'm not surprised that she wouldn't be familiar with what a person could and could not charge her for. On that one, at least, I could give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she did think that they could strip her of her online alias.
On this one, however, I will not give her the benefit of the doubt. She already got one from me. She is suing Onision because he struck her videos and should have known her videos were safe under fair use. So I have no idea where she got that point from.
With that being said, the fact that people are trying to turn a very real situation into, I don't know, like an art situation or a fraud situation when it was very real is disturbing to me.
Okay, for one thing, I know that it's a little difficult to tell what she's saying at the beginning since that's a little word salad-esque, but I believe she was trying to get across that she felt that people thinking her statement regarding her being stranded or regarding her alias change had to do with the Slimmers situation was ridiculous. Except it's really not when you take into consideration not only how many times Ash has been caught in a lie to make herself look like the victim, while Slimmers and those who support Slimmers look like villains, it also happened at exactly the same time.
The timing was too perfect for my and many other people's eyes. When the drama started lighting a fire underneath her feet, she was suddenly going homeless. People saw this as a cop-out, and she somehow lost all her funds for the lawsuit against Onision. Her wording is the reason people believe that she faltered.
Another thing I want to point out, Ash makes the claim that because she was posting updates of her travel on Snapchat, people should not have been questioning the whole Onision lawsuit thing. She doesn't directly state it, but she talks about how people think she's lying, and the one big thing that people think she's lying about outside of the Slimmers thing is the Onision lawsuit. Except, the road trip Snapchat images of Ash heading to North Carolina would not be proof that she's not lying about the Onision lawsuit. They are completely separate things. Maybe if she specified that people saw that she was going to North Carolina instead of Washington and they automatically assumed that she wasn't going to Washington, but that's not what people believed as far as I'm aware.
We're not claiming this event did not happen. We're claiming what she said did not match up to her original Discord message. She said she was going homeless, not stranded. There is a huge difference.
I can't tell if this is Ash just misconstruing things along the same lines as what she tried to do with regards to the Slimmers situation, or if she's actually confused on the matter.
Or she just didn't know what the word meant. Or she was just panicked.
That's an option too.
I do English good.
And I know there's gonna be another person that has the guilty until proven innocent mentality listening to this. I've literally posted like a fuck ton of Snapchats with like the filters like just made it to this state and that state, and also included on my Instagram story. And apparently this is all like a big lie. So that is insane to me. What is another thing? I've never once said like I'm poor or I'm broke. If there's a screenshot of that, then that is fabricated. why would I say that when that's simply untrue? However, I did say that I was going to be stranded, so if that's what these rumors are coming from, then yes, I was going to be stranded. I was going to be stranded on the streets, and that's pretty much what happened for like 2 days.
Stone, I'm gonna let you go at this because you really got passionate about disproving this one, and I already had my moment in the co-op with Nezzy.
Ponder, I could hug you right now. Alright, so while I was doing research after I watched this video, I realized Ash made a mistake. She gave me a time frame, which could have been debunked with the right evidence. And I searched, and I had it. Both of these claims are false, and I can prove them with evidence. Her goodbye message was posted at 5:23 a.m., which would have happened on the 16th of September, by these orders of tweets from Nani and others. Nani's tweet was posted shortly after midnight, making it the 17th of September. However, the picture in the tweet shows that it was posted 7 hours earlier, making it the time of the tweet was around 5 p.m. on September 16th. However, Ash's Snapchat was posted at nighttime, which means it could have been as early as 6:30 as its soonest, or 11:59 at the latest. With the sunrise and sunset times I have provided, you can come to the same conclusion as I have, which means she was only stranded for at most 13 to 18 hours in that gap, if that. Not 2 days like she claimed. It can't be 2 days because she posted the Snapchat on the 16th. That was a lie.
Oof, that debunking. Damn, boy. Also, should any of us really be surprised that Ash is being caught in another lie? And we can at least say that this one is a lie because there's no emotional effects to gauge in a time frame. You can literally just look at how long a thing lasted. Ash would have been able to check how long she'd been on her own and could have corrected that it was not actually 2 days at any time.
It's a lie!
However, people may argue, well, don't you have patron money? Don't you have your credit card? Blah, 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 blah. And, don't you think if I had access to my money in the moment that I would use it? My bank froze my card for obvious reasons, and my phone was dying, so I couldn't call or, fix that. And on top of that, my money went towards my legal cause. However, let's say in a fucking magical, hypothetical, alternative universe that I could, in a desperate situation, use the patron money to, get out of a bad situation. Well, don't you think I fucking would have? I didn't want to be stranded in another state, but I had no, I didn't have anything. My phone was literally about to die. No card, because the girl took it. And on top of that, it was fucking, frozen anyways. Frozen, what the I'm tired.
Now she's saying her card was frozen. I can give her an out, because a person who travels without first contacting their bank could get their card frozen if it was used out of state or out of country, if you count that as obvious.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of her saying the card was locked for obvious reasons, because someone who doesn't travel probably doesn't know what those reasons are. And that reason wouldn't be obvious to someone who travels often and therein knows that you're supposed to contact your bank beforehand so that they don't lock your card, but it's a petty complaint, not really a big deal.
Also, if she took Ash's card, you could have used the last 5% of your battery to, I don't know, call the police, maybe.
Hey, yeah, 911, this girl stranded me in North Carolina with only 5% juice, and she stole my only method of payment. ID? No, I don't have my ID. What do you mean I need my ID to call the police? Yes, I am the same girl who called that Wendy's about furries harassing me. They hung up.
It fucking got froze, sorry. And I didn't know anyone there. And I had really bad anxiety. When you're being yelled at that you're gonna be on the streets, right in your fucking ear, and everything's stressful, I genuinely thought I was stranded. That doesn't mean that I'm broke or poor, but in that situation, was I? Yeah. I literally had nothing in another state. One last thing is maybe people would wonder, why would you get in a car without your ID or any important information like that? And to answer your question as fucking brief as possible, because this video is so long, is that I have borderline personality disorder, and what that does, and I know people are gonna demonize me for it, but that does not define me. But that's besides the point. That disorder can make me impulsive or do impulsive things. So when I want to go on a less than 24-hour road trip and, get something in return, I just hopped in the car and didn't really think much of it. Because my personality disorder can make me impulsive, and therefore I was impulsive. So I hope that answers questions. But even then, I feel like people are entitled to these answers because guilty until proven innocent mentality.
Another guilty until proven innocent mentality. Ash's words are being doubted for her constantly lying, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was lying here. Borderline personality disorder isn't just impulsiveness. It is a multitude of factors, such as an intense fear of abandonment and wide mood swing. But we do not have the medical diagnosis for her, so I'm going to try to say I'm skeptical at the very least.
I would believe that she has borderline personality disorder. I don't know a lot about Ash's personal life, but from the limited understanding of her behavior I have from the Slimura situation and what knowledge of BPD I have, I would believe it. However, it actually makes me wonder whether she potentially did raise the money for a lawsuit against Onision, but that she did so impulsively and therein was not prepared for an actual legal battle. We've already discussed that we can't be sure if the funds are being directed appropriately. Maybe it's because Ash doesn't know how to use the funds correctly and for the purpose she originally advertised them being raised for.
I'm also not going to let her use her disorder as a full-on excuse if she does have it. I, for one, have autism, but you don't see me using it as an excuse to explain all my mistakes. I take responsibility for my actions like any adult would.
If Ash is aware that she has BPD and she knows it's a recurring issue, it probably would have benefited her to bring someone else onto the original lawsuit plan, assuming there was a plan. Someone who was more regulated and who knew more about how to go through with a suit of that nature could have helped her organize the funds and keep track of what was necessary for the legal dispute. If Ash recognized that she has difficulty overcoming her impulsivity, then it might benefit her to have a partner on hand who can more consistently keep more of an emotional level head and help her to see through the black and white mentality that BPD sometimes causes people to think in.
Repsion would have been a great candidate for that. But I think Ash sadly burned that bridge so badly that London Bridge is getting jealous.
Although, admittedly, why would you take your card and not your ID? Aren't those two cards generally kept in your wallet? Why not just take your whole wallet? Whatever. Although,
People aren't entitled to these answers.
people are most definitely entitled to the answers regarding the lawsuit that you took money from them to execute. You know, that thing that you are not providing answers to. You even make note that the Patreon funds are apparently not yours to use outside of the lawsuit, but aren't willing to tell people where the funds are actually going to be used and prove that you're initiating the lawsuit in the first place and using those funds as intended.
But for the purpose of this video, I have no problem addressing fabrications, but in the future, just know, I don't care if someone says I fucking killed someone, I'm not addressing fabrications. Ever.
Except that's another lie. You have addressed fabrications. The whole big issue with the Slimurs situation was that you were addressing, quote-unquote, fabrications, not actually fabrications, made by Slimurs about you. Clearly you are willing to address alleged fabrications. Why are you not willing to address the potentially serious one of you scamming people? Especially if you have the proof to prove the claim wrong. You even did it again after the Slimurs situation, but with Mokafua instead.
Oh, Ponder, you don't get it.
What am I not getting?
There's no child to make fun of here.
I'm going to upload content that I like, and that's it. He says... Hold on, I have to read the messages. I hope you're going through with it and there is actual paperwork to back it up. I said specifically if you're lying about your claims and aren't going through with what you said you are doing after you've taken money, I'll take issue of that. You've sent the paperwork to the wrong county. He has put question marks like that's a fucking surprise. I don't know if I doubt he watches my videos, obviously, but I made an entire video explaining why I don't want to talk about him anymore. That it's old news, and when I talk about him again, I want it to be after the lawsuit and explain everything in depth, which includes any rookie mistakes, and tell people about the annoying fucking copyright attorneys that didn't understand YouTube very well, and all of these like stressful experiences, and I wanted to just spill it all. And I briefly mentioned about like the whole different county wrong address thing in my other video, and people are acting surprised. Then I filed it for the correct county and it had the correct address and everything, and I'm apparently some fraud. CN then says, it is your responsibility to update folks with stuff, especially if they're giving you money for something specific that you claim you're doing. Well, in my previous video, I also said that the updates that I'm refusing to give because I think that just me saying, like, publicly on YouTube, hi guys, okay, so I just talked to a new copyright attorney is just really annoying. And I've also had people complain, like, girl, this is old news, just talk about it when you, like, go to court. And I completely agreed with it. But that's besides the point. What was I going with that? Oh yeah, it's your responsibility to give updates. I did say in that video, if patrons want updates, all they have to do is DM me. They're the only people that I would, like, have no problem talking about this with and giving updates about it, because they're the ones that were funding it. And yet, I'm still some bad person for saying that. Like, I don't think there's a problem with giving your patrons updates and then postponing updates for the public until you go to court.
Repzion's points are completely valid. It is your responsibility to give those who paid for the thing you're doing updates. They don't even have to be on YouTube. She could easily just make it on her Patreon, or make it a Discord server with just one channel where only Ash can type in to give updates on the situation for those who have pledged. It's not that hard. Or just make a channel in her current Discord, a place for only Ash to type, so the people who make false pedo allegations to troll live streamers, and the people who say they are gonna rape someone don't get a chance to talk in that chat. And yes, those are things that have happened in her Discord.
Honestly, I completely understand the note about leaving updates for your patrons because they're the ones who paid for everything. That actually makes perfect sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is continuing with that mentality now, given the fact that so many people believed that the lawsuit wasn't actually happening. You talk here about how everyone has a quote-unquote guilty until proven innocent mentality, but are expressly going out of your way to not correct that mentality, further pushing people into thinking that you're lying. This makes even less sense if we take into consideration the fact that she says she used to deliver updates and that people eventually stopped wanting them. Now that people do want them, she's unwilling to give them?
And the updates aren't really anything special, besides, like, some stressful shit behind the scenes, which I recorded all of it, and it sucks that I recorded all this fucking footage, and me going to the fucking courthouse in fucking Tacoma, just for me not to be able to upload it, because the guilty until proven innocent mentality is kind of pushing me away from even wanting to upload this video of, you know, the whole process. Like, that's why I said earlier, expect nothing, because until the internet gets rid of the guilty until proven innocent mentality, I literally refuse to upload any footage or, like, anything about it. And that fucking sucks. I was so fucking excited. And I'm still in Washington, so maybe, like, I should stop recording the entire thing. Like, honestly, I might do that.
I really hope she isn't saying what I am thinking. She's gonna hide everything from the public because of a mentality instead of clearing her name. I have no idea why she would do this besides her childish mentality. And no one said she couldn't use the footage. She could have used it as some huge hit piece like, "Ha, I proved you all wrong, now I expect apologies." But she's now just going to toss it? How many brain cells do you have?
God damn, this makes no sense. I would completely understand if Ash chose to update only her patrons while she continued to work on the video in the background. I would completely understand Ash choosing to stay silent until that video was released. Granted, that means that this entire video would have been stupid to make because within this video, she is acknowledging the situation, which goes against that tactic. I could even see it being super good for her channel to be so heavily scrutinized, only for her to burst forth with this amazing footage of her suing Onision and doing exactly what she'd planned to. The promised child came through for everyone. Long live the pink thing! Too bad it looks like she's completely abandoned that idea. Whoops.
I still don't think she would get that amount of praise after the Slimmer situation, but I believe it would have softened the blow and made her well known in copyright YouTube cases.
But to scrap it entirely, that is the dumbest thing I've heard in a while. This is a channel-killing tactic. I guess, sort of proven at this point, this is a surefire way to make sure that nobody believes you. Ash even risks losing a good chunk of the audience members who still supported her by doing this.
Let alone her miserable credibility. Stop, it's already dead!
So then I responded to him how I got stranded in another state without my charger or ID or a way to get back home. When there's someone screaming in your ear that you're going to be on the streets or in a stressful situation, blah, 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 blah. I don't live, eat, breathe the lawsuit 24/7. And even when making an entire video dedicated to a huge update and also stating I want to stop making videos about it for now, people were complaining about it, saying it's old news for now, and I agree. It's annoying to constantly update. Hey guys, just talk to another copyright attorney. What's the point? I'd rather shut up about him until I go to court. And if that's suspicious to you or other people, then quite frankly, I don't owe anyone anything. And that's a little out of context. Like, Repsian probably didn't watch my video and doesn't understand that I did say only patrons should get updates if they request. But, you know, he might be able to, I don't know, demonize me for that. Fuck it, I really don't care. Then I had an Onision fucking, like, anti-Onision page message me, did you really use money to see Breaking Benjamin? I said, excuse me. I said, imagine being so stupid that people who have lawsuits can't have a life or attend events. Imagine being so stupid you think that I have to live, drink, and breathe my lawsuit 24/7. Fuck off out of my DMs if a concert offends you. And that person's response to me was, I think it's best to clear that up just in case, cause people think you used money to see a show, ? Granted, lawsuits, even on a small scale, take a long time, which is true. It's only been 3 months, and this has taken quite a lot of fucking time. So, I mean, like, even though it's been 3 months, it literally feels like it's been a fucking year. Like, that's how much shit I've been doing behind the scenes that I've been recording, but clearly I'm not gonna fucking upload that because the internet pushed me away from that. But regardless, yeah, and to me responding to him saying, I think it's best to clear that up just in case, I'm doing it in a video because I have not actually, like, responded to him, like, through DMs. But yeah. I think it's best to clear that up just in case because people think you use the money to see a show. That's literally what cancel culture does, and that's literally why I made this entire video explaining how cancel culture, or just because like someone dislikes you and your content, that they suddenly have the right to fabricate stuff against you or make up rumors or invalidate your activities. And unfortunately this is what happened, just because people dislike my content or dislike my character based on fabrications, that now all of a sudden I'm some fraud that's actually not suing anyone.
I don't think she really gets why people are thinking that. Either she's so dense, or she's so full of herself that a self-eating cannibal would be jealous. People were under the assumption she used the money for the concert because she said she was going homeless a few days prior, which she now says she thought she was going to be stranded, even though those are completely different things. And people think you were using the money you got because they didn't think you had any money before. And only now in this video have you cleared that up, but again in a shitty way, and one that doesn't even bring up much trust between her and the viewer.
Actually, isn't this video geared towards clearing up some of the more innocuous claims?
You said you were going homeless.
No, I was actually stranded and didn't know what to do.
Repsion questioned why there are no updates.
He didn't watch my videos, so he wouldn't know that updates are for patrons.
You said you were changing your alias because of this Slimmers thing.
No, I actually had someone threaten to sue me, and I thought I'd had to switch aliases.
I mean, you're clearly willing to, within this video, at least attempt to clear up the smaller, less important claims. Why are you not willing to clear up the big, important, glaring elephant in the room one? You talk at length about cancel culture being bad, but realistically, you aren't doing anything about it. You just say it's bad for people who want to cancel me, but aren't willing to showcase the reason why it's bad, which is especially weird because cancel culture is usually done for stupid reasons, but here it's apparently being done because you were scamming people. You might still be scamming people. What? The reason here, from what you're saying, is that you're telling the truth, but people are assuming you're lying. You're not really doing anything to teach people that they're in the wrong to think that you are lying. People recognize that cancel culture is an issue in instances where events or screenshots come to light that prove that what a person was being quote-unquote canceled for was without merit. But I think most people recognize that where cancel culture works best is taking people off of platforms where they could promote harmful ideals, scam people, or hurt somebody by removing the platform on which they used to do that. Ash has, at this point, been under heavy scrutiny for allegedly scamming her fans by not providing the proof that would vindicate her. I mean, I reiterate, learned helplessness.
As well, no one believes someone had to, and I quote, eat and breathe the lawsuit. It's just that you were suddenly homeless by your own words, and then you suddenly were able to fly to Washington and go to concerts and get high. Also about cancel culture. She keeps whining about it, and yeah, it sucks. But these claims some people are making are based on facts of what she herself said, and not just people canceling her for the sake of somebody not liking her content. Also, she keeps saying these are based on fabrications, like that's some sort of big word to scare us. Lots of the claims made against her are based on what she herself said, and the logic surrounding that. If she wants people to not make assumptions, she needs to be more clear and honest, because no one is buying anything from her even if she's telling the truth. Because of her false claims and fabrications about Slimmers, her stealing from an artist for her merch, etc.
And my response to him saying, because people think you use money to see a show. What did you want me to do? Upload a image of me at the Tacoma courthouse when I didn't want to do that. I was saving it for my project that I'm working on about suing Onision and the behind the scenes and the stress behind it and me talking to all these fucking attorneys, and I even had my friend record me walk into the courthouse. And by the way, I had a friend with me because I needed a ride, but that's besides the point. Walk into the fucking Tacoma courthouse, Shane Dawson style. Like, I was so hyped to make this fucking video. I wanted to share the entire process of this fucking journey, and it really saddens me that I no longer wish to do that, and it's really fucking sad. The fact that I am not allowed to go to an event for 2 hours because apparently I need to focus on my lawsuit every hour of my life blows my mind.
She couldn't show a picture of her outside the courthouse because she said she was saving it for a video. But now she's saying she doesn't want to do the video. So what is stopping her from showing the picture now? I don't understand her logic besides, I'm not gonna give you anything because I'm upset and no one will believe me even though I don't have a good track record of telling the truth.
I get being burnt out on the nature of a project. If the situation surrounding that project turns sour, that's not really something that anyone needs to feel sorry for. But if the nature and beliefs of people surrounding the situation are what are tiring you out and making working on that project difficult, why not come out and release the footage? Or at least some pictures of it? If it's everyone's disbelief and behavior online that is killing your willpower in that regard, wouldn't proving them wrong overall just make you feel better? Maybe the project would still be too sour to work on, and that's a bummer in its own right. But if you had the power to stop the misunderstandings, at least you can stop everything from souring your next project, right? Well, considering after deleting the Onision video, she dipped off of her channel for a bunch of months, I don't really know how likely that is anymore. She doesn't seem to be acknowledging it anymore.
She also states she had her friend drive her to the courthouse, even though she said the money given to her to sue Greg was for transportation and living expenses while there. Odd.
The fact that people are asking me to address this, and the fact that people are saying, you only went to Washington to see a concert. Because what? I uploaded footage of the concert because I thought it was fun and I thought it was a good night, good performance. Like, if you go to concerts, it's normal to update that on your social media. Like, just had fun at this concert, you know? I don't understand the logic that if someone were to attend an event for 2 hours and that person has a legal cause, then them attending an event that's unrelated to their legal cause makes them a fraud or makes them a liar, and like all these things. It's like, what? It's an event.
If you're actively willing to listen to logic behind everyone's understandings, I can explain it. Within the Slimmers situations, it was shown that you were willing to lie in an attempt to put someone else in the wrong for your misdeeds, and that you were willing to go to potentially illegal lengths to harm them. In this case, that would be your attempted dox and targeted harassment of Slimmers, which was too extreme of a reaction to Slimmers venting about not getting credit, which had already been your responsibility. Now, if those responsibilities are a stressor for you, fine, that's understandable, and I won't hold it against you. But that effectively means that you need to stop working with artists altogether. If keeping up with paying or crediting them is too stressful, then you need to remove the stressor entirely, either by having someone else close to you interact with the artists and make sure they get paid, or by not hiring them in the first place. I mean, hell, I've heard that you used to be on DeviantArt, just draw your own shit. Without attempting to rectify that issue, this demonstrates not only an ability and willingness to lie for your own gain, but also a willingness to break the law. The Onision lawsuit in particular is what garnered so much attention to your channel recently, and therein, given the general understanding that people have surrounding your behavior during the Slimmers situation, your behavior regarding the Onision situation can now be looked at with a different eye. The concert that you were going to was in Washington, the same place where you were supposed to be going to sue Onision. You also have made note that you have been working on the Onision lawsuit for 3 months, and it could be argued that people inferred from your videos that you had already filed a case against Onision, except most people with an understanding of small claims court cases will recognize that, at most, you would receive a court date within 4 weeks of filing the suit. Therein, people who think that you have filed the suit already are likely going to think that you already have a court date. The potential misunderstanding of your statement regarding you going homeless also probably plays into this, which would have happened on the 16th of September. The concert, as far as we can tell, was either September 21st, which would have been in Ridgefield, or September 22nd, which would have been in Auburn. Anybody who assumed you were going homeless because of a lack of funds would therein question your priorities and where the money came from if you started suddenly posting about going to a concert. Now, granted, they're not really taking into consideration the potential that this concert had been previously paid for or that the ticket itself was a gift, but that possibility also ignores the required travel expenses that you had already raised through your Onision lawsuit crowdfunding effort. This begs the question as to why you apparently needed to crowdfund travel expenses if you were already perfectly capable of traveling to Washington on your own for this prepaid concert, assuming it was prepaid. You're going to Washington unless it's clarified that the travel expenses and concert ticket were a packaged gift and you didn't pay for anything, leads people to believe that you either spent the money you crowdfunded from people under the pretense that you didn't have the money to go to Washington, or that you lied about not having the money to go to Washington in the first place. Boom. That's the logic being used here.
Damn, Panda, you went off for a while.
There's less chance for this girl to worm her way through the wording if everything is explained like she's a 5-year-old.
I think you mean snake her way out, because we both know she is one.
I'm not uploading anything in regards to Onision. From this point on, I'm done filming. All of that footage, I may delete it. And, I'm going to do this one-on-one, privately. If Onision decides to talk about it when the time comes, I'm not even going to address it. Because this is my choice at this point. I'm sick of guilty until proven innocent mentality. I'm sick of the fact that people think I went to Washington for a concert, even though it was because I had to go to the courthouse within 72 hours of filing your claim. That's how it works.
So I wasn't able to find anything regarding the claim that you have to show up at the courthouse 72 hours after filing for a case. That seems a little weird to me, considering Ash originally made a video promoting the notion that she was going to be filing the case by mailing in the papers, but as I can't find anything to disprove the claim, I won't try to. However, I've already made note that Ash attended the Breaking Benjamin concert either on September 21st or on September 22nd. It takes up to 2 weeks for a court date to be issued, according to an attorney on avo.com. Also according to them, the pre-trial date is set about 45 days from when the papers are filed. This means that if we assume Ash filed the papers while she was in Washington for that concert, either on the 21st or 22nd, the latest her court date with Onision could have been was November 6th or around that date. So at the very least, even if Ash isn't willing to talk about the case, dumb as an idea I think that is, we have a general idea of when the court date should have taken place based on what we were given. At this point, anyone could check the court sites to find that case.
Even then, we still have word from Onision saying that she was not suing him. And with Ash's current escapades, her word is just as good, if not worse than Onision's.
Honestly, this seems so off to me. Like I said, I would completely understand holding off and talking about the case if you were saving it up for a video. But deliberately not talking about it with this excuse of cancel culture is bad just seems like a cop-out to me. I'm unaware of any comments where people have told Ash that they no longer wanted updates on the case, since she's claiming that people didn't want continuous updates, and that leaves the potential possibility that she's using this as an excuse to hide what's happening in that case because she isn't actually filing it.
And people think because I attended an event that I'm a horrible person that committed fraud. No. And because of that, I refuse to upload any footage of this process.
I have a dream where one day my 4 little reptilian sisters will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged whether or not they're willing to provide any evidence of a claim against them and can just get mad when people on the internet don't believe them at their word. I mean, you want to complain about people ascribing guilt onto a person before proving their guilt, that's fine. But the fact that you seem to think that you don't need to provide evidence of this claim is ridiculous. You made the public claim that you were going to sue Onision and you used it as a platform to propel your channel. People have shouted you out and chosen to promote you specifically for this action. Even if you want to make the claim that only those who helped you pay for the legal expenses on Patreon are entitled to updates on the nature of the case, those who publicly supported you for your actions deserve to know that the person they believed in is actually going through with what they promised. Repsion in particular probably really wants to know this because I imagine he and many others sent people your way who would end up being supporters in that crowdfunding effort.
If I knew things were going to end up like this, I would have never donated to her in the first place, let alone shout her out.
Wait, you donated?
I did. I thought I mentioned this before.
Then, Stone, that means that you're entitled to updates on the case.
I am, but I have no idea if she will give it to me now that I've made a video on her. I, however, can no longer get in contact with her anyway, because after I donated for a month, my financial situation changed, and I couldn't stay on her Patreon, so now I have no way of physically contacting her aside from email.
Actually, yeah, Ash crowdfunded for the one-time expenses necessary for the lawsuit on Patreon instead of on GoFundMe where people can get refunds, but is now saying that her patrons can get updates on the case if they ask, but that's only for those who are still giving her money. What about all of the people who did one-time donations? Aren't they equally entitled to updates on the case?
Luckily, I emailed her to see if we can get updates, and we'll get into that later when we bring this up again.
Psst. If you think it puts Ash in a good light, you're higher than her on an average day.
It was such a stressful journey for me, but also so exciting, recording myself flying and going there and going to the courthouse. For it to, I don't know, like for me to post going to a concert and then all of a sudden I'm some fraud. That completely pushes me away and makes me not passionate about this project. So I'm going to start thinking of my lawsuit as a one-on-one thing. It is no longer a public issue. I know that I've made rants about him striking me multiple times. Like, I have been demonized too much for literally no valid reason because furries dislike my content. Now you can just make assumptions or say that I'm a fraud because I attended a concert for 2 hours.
First of all, it's idiotic how she is using furries as a derogatory term. Like, just because they are a furry, they cannot have a valid point, which is extremely narrow-minded and stupid. Just because someone has a furry avatar doesn't make their point any less valid. It's like saying Ash's word is less valid because she's a Leafy clone.
Ash trying to discredit people based on completely arbitrary reasons? Color me shocked.
It is gatekeeping in its rawest and stupidest form. We have already talked about why the concert itself wasn't the issue, but the situations before that being the issue leading to the concert.
Also, as I've said before, and Ash is really only confirming that to be the case here, if being accused of being a fraud is what is ruining her motivation and destroying her will to work on a project that she was initially very passionate about, it makes absolutely zero sense for her to not seek to dispel that allegedly false narrative against her. If we assume that Ash is telling the truth and that she is actually seeking to sue Onision and the lawsuit is entirely real, then she's basically just wallowing at this point. She's unwilling to fix the issue, essentially, which, again, could be a BPD behavior, but we're not entirely sure, so I'm not gonna just outright assume. Feelings of emptiness and the want to preemptively distance yourself from people so as not to be abandoned is a thing. But I think a situation where she's distancing herself from people who paid into a fund for her to do a specific task cannot be excused as easily as distancing yourself from a friend because of an argument. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt where it's applicable, but it can't be used as an excuse for scamming people out of their money.
I don't know about her, but myself, I would try to fix the problem and find a solution. Just making us wait for a video to be done would have been good enough, not just wallowing in their own pity and stubbornness.
What? Oh, God. Like, what if I posted, like, an image of me at, like, the mall or something? Does that mean I'm a fraud, too? Like, I can't post anything?
The mall does not require that you travel to the literal place you crowdfunded money from people to help you travel to.
What the fuck? But yeah, this has been a long fucking video. I'm appalled. And, yeah, for anyone that really looked forward to the process and, like, the footage and shit of me suing Onision, I apologize. I really looked forward to it, too. You have the internet to blame, and maybe this could be a sacrifice. Maybe this will help wake people up. Even though it's not that fucking deep, it's a lawsuit that I was filming, or not, like, the actual lawsuit itself, but the process, you know what I mean? It's just, like, I don't know, maybe, like, it would make people think, like, damn, maybe we should chill with this guilty until proven innocent mentality, because that could have been a sick video, but I feel like even that's not a fucking enough, because James Charles literally, like, had nearly 50 million views and people still didn't learn from him. Like, people still contribute to cancel culture and make assumptions or lies and fabrications against people, and it's just like, so what makes me think that refusing to upload my I don't know, project that I've been working fucking months on and film the entire, like, it was just a waste of fucking footage at this point. Like, what makes me think me taking that away from the public would do anything? The guilty until proven innocent mentality will still be on the internet.
What? Then aren't you basically admitting that you're effectively doing jack all by choosing not to release the video and prove to people that they were wrong? Your whole video is predicated on, oh, guilty until proven innocent is bad. But right here, you're showcasing that even in cases where you are the one potentially being affected by it, you are complacent and refuse to change that mentality in people. So you'll bitch about it, scold people for it, you have the means on which you could fix it, and yet you refuse to do anything about it because people didn't believe you at your word, and you had already been caught in multiple lies. Brilliant!
No one would blame Ash for not putting out the video because of her bullshit ways. Now people are gonna think she is hiding something. By God, if I've ever heard a broken record before, this would be the most perfect example of one I can think of. She can't just blame everything on the guilty until proven innocent mentality. It has to do with the majority of her actions. And if she's so choked up about it, why not post it exclusively to patrons?
Preferably patrons and those who initially helped in the crowdfunding effort.
Also, the James Charles situation is completely different from Ash's. I don't see Jack Diddley's squad of him lying and stealing art. He also didn't make a 35-minute hit piece with zero evidence on the person who called them out. James actually was redeemable and had logic and receipts, while Ash didn't. Comparing to situations like comparing apples to bananas because they have natural sugar in them.
Oh, I'm so choked up. I had to delete the
Footage. No, you didn't. You chose to delete the footage, assuming you've done it already and even had it in the first place, even if it was allegedly footage which could have proved everything wrong about you. You complain that everyone thought that you were lying, but now all of those people are effectively going to be convinced that you are. See what I mean about just wallowing?
Maybe if the deletion had been an impulse issue, we've already suggested the notion of having someone close to her work with her on her videos. So a person like that having a backup copy of footage would be a great idea for the future.
Yeah, I'm really choked up about having to delete the footage. It hurts. I really wanted to make something great because I've been learning how to edit better, and I had a friend with me, like, record me going through this stuff and going to the courthouse and being so excited. And, you know, usually you don't go to a courthouse fucking excited, but I was excited to do this and stick up for what I think is right, and want to, you know, help other small creators and inform them about this stuff, and while also literally taking down someone that really deserves it.
I want to help smaller creators by not crediting them for their art when credit was the deal, or by using their fan art and then lying to people when I'm called out for not crediting by claiming it was a commission.
I don't know if Ash wanted to help small creators. If she did, she would have kept her end of the deal with Slimmers. It also is fine to lose passion, but don't blame it on others when the person themselves are the ones to blame.
Hey, you know what also doesn't help small creators? Using someone else's gameplay footage and not crediting them for it.
She stated in her description that the CSGO footage was given to her by the CSGO community, but she couldn't remember the names, which is just an idiotic move in and of itself.
Probably made extra bad after the whole not crediting artists scandal.
That can easily be fixed by saving the video with the title of the person who submitted it, or just getting new gameplay footage. I was lucky enough to get a screenshot from a tweet from Nicholas Diorio, by the way, huge fan, call me, that had a screenshot of what she said in her description.
But it has just come to an end, unfortunately. So like I said, if you were looking forward to it, trust me, I was too, and I apologize, but I'm not going to upload it because I don't want to owe anyone that makes fabrications about me or makes me feel like I have to eat, breathe, sleep my lawsuit 24/7 to the point I am not allowed to attend any events. I don't want to owe them footage of this entire process. I don't want to owe them a video that I've lost passion for because they decided to lie. I don't want to owe them shit. So, sorry if you look forward to it.
But according to you, the main person making quote-unquote fabrications was Slimmers. Obviously, you wouldn't owe Slimmers updates regarding the lawsuit, but why does that now suddenly apply to everyone? What if you had fans who were legitimately excited about the lawsuit going through and who actually did do one-time donations to help with it? Wouldn't you owe them, or do you only owe them if they're still paying you money on Patreon?
If that is your belief, then what about those who only donated for 1 month like myself, who helped towards the cause but couldn't afford to keep going? Her morals and her wording gets just as confusing as we go on, so don't be afraid if you end up getting lost.
Why is everyone being punished because one person allegedly lied about you and that caused this big alleged misunderstanding?
And yeah, this was an unnecessary 10 minutes added onto this video. This video feels very disorganized even though I wanted it to be organized. But I figured if I'm going to address like a bunch of fabrications from fucking retard furries, from like randos on the internet that like to lie about me, I don't know, I might as well address this like weird, I don't know, public thing going on where people are suspicious of me for literally no valid reason.
Again with the furry card, like it backs up your argument. Furries have been some of the most kind and accepting people I've ever met. But sure, lump them in like it's a slur. And a furry was one of the first people to call you out. Cry about it more. And no valid reason? Aside from you violating an artist's copyright.
Publicly broadcasting that a minor lied about their sexual assault when you had no evidence of this claim.
When Nani had evidence to the contrary.
Don't forget the pattern of harassing smaller creators who speak up against her.
Claiming you were homeless, even though you were only stranded for no more than 18 hours by my calculations.
Being caught in multiple lies regarding the Slimmers situation.
Talking about how much money she made after the situation, even though that's not how YouTube works.
Traveling to Washington for a reason unrelated to the lawsuit, begging the question as to why she needed to crowdfund money for travels in the first place. Apparently you had the means to get there.
And then saying all the speculation around the situation is false, but refusing to provide proof to back up her own claims when it should be easy for her if she was telling the truth.
I don't know about you, but these all seem like pretty valid reasons to be suspicious of Ash.
Now I understand the whole I'm gonna be like on the streets thing. That did look weird, but at the end of the day, like, it was a very real situation. My phone was literally on 5%. What, did you want me to wait like an hour? Like, I really need to think this. No! I thought I was gonna be on the streets. I wanted, like, my community to know. And I wanted to say bye to my friends. I've used Discord so goddamn much. And it meant a lot to me. And I was sad that I would never talk to my friends on Discord ever again.
What a defeatist mentality you have. I'm not even joking on that. Like, if we assume that Ash is completely telling the truth about all of the footage she's got for the lawsuit, and that she has actually chosen to delete it and not show it because she's being questioned, and that she was actually worried that she would never be able to talk to people on Discord again because she was stranded and only had 5% battery life, that really just showcases that when stuck in a potentially bad situation which she could fix, Ash instead just rolls onto her back and gives up. She could have called someone to help her when she was stuck without a ride. She could have released the footage that would vindicate her. But she doesn't want to do those things because I don't know why. Maybe it's because of her BPD, maybe there's another reason, maybe it's a confidence issue, maybe she didn't think of it. It really does just seem like she's given these potential other options to fix the situation, and she ignores them because she wants to cause more problems for herself, and she doesn't want to fix the problems that exist. At least, based on her own explanations, that's what it looks like to me.
She also keeps harping on about the 5% on her phone for a long ass time. I'm sure she has said it more than guilty until proven innocent at this point. Like, 5% isn't an excuse. You can do a lot with 5%. Why does she feel like she would never see her Discord friends again? That doesn't make sense. Even if you get stranded, you can still find a way home. Go to a police station, go to a restaurant, or go to a hotel and ask for a phone, and they may be nice enough to let you pay when someone comes to get you. Hell, if she called her parents, they could have paid through the phone or the hotel's website to have her spend the night in the hotel till they can come and get her the next morning, or until they can find a way to get her home. In short, 5% isn't an issue. It's a cop-out.
I repeat, defeatist mentality. One thing goes wrong and Ash apparently automatically assumes the position for the world to fuck her over.
No, senpai, it's not worth it!
And even though that should be the last of my worries, like, I was already, like, so stressed with this girl in my ear screaming at me that I'm gonna be on the streets, and realizing I was a fucking idiot for not bringing my ID or anything important, just getting in a fucking car. And I was so stressed that, like, I became numb. So the only thing I could do is just try to act normal and get on my phone, even though I didn't have a charger, and then that's when it hit me. I had to say bye.
So is that your excuse here? That you're just numb and there and not capable of releasing the footage that would actually fix your problem? If that was the case, how did you get so far as to make the claim that you were going to sue Onision?
If that was really the case, wouldn't you have given up on the videos being claimed after they were already claimed the first time?
If the difference is that Onision allegedly taking down your videos was an online matter and the being stranded situation was in real life, then what's your excuse for not vindicating yourself regarding the alleged misconceptions people have about the lawsuit being fake? That's online.
It has to be the bleach. It must be the bleach. I can't imagine how she would have gotten to this level.
And there was also evidence of this road trip all over my social media, and people literally still think I'm like some liar. That road trip wasn't anyone's business necessarily, or the details about it shouldn't be shared. I personally don't think that like your personal issues shouldn't be on the internet. However, the only reason I'm addressing it or explaining the situation in a little more in depth, it's obviously like this isn't a story time about it. I'm only doing that because I guess people think I'm some fucking liar.
The details of this road trip shouldn't have been shared. I personally don't think that your personal issues should be shared on the internet.
The whole concert thing and the note about you being stranded were literally personal issues that you shared on the internet. And now you're, what, mad that people are questioning those personal things that you actively made public? Like, you acknowledge that personal shit shouldn't be online, but you're talking about issues where you revealed personal shit online. And Jesus Christ, if that's the case, why did you reveal Slimmers' private issues online for your audience in a public video and Instagram post? So your issues are allowed to be kept private and never be brought up in a public setting, even if you make them public yourself, but you're perfectly allowed to publicly talk about Slimmers' sexual assault and tell people that she's lying about it. Are you actually kidding me?
You're being a hypocrite in your own fucking statement where you're trying to somewhat explain yourself. Am I having a stroke? Ponder slap me. I have no idea what's going on and what is reality right now.
Oh, I had no idea that's what you were into, but I can definitely help.
Not now, Ponder. Save that for later.
We're gonna skip over the next little bit because it's mostly just summary, as well as Ash trying to give herself plausible deniability in any instance where someone makes a claim against her by saying that if she doesn't address it, that means it didn't happen. Which isn't how that works, but whatever.
Which basically means we'll be ending things here and moving to part 3, where Ash is interviewed by one of her fans and someone who's been helping to try to vilify Slimmers during this whole debacle.
Yeah, some of you guys on my channel might already know who that is.
It's Light Yagami. You better watch out. I have the death note now.
Before that, let's make a little note about something that Ash claimed that will kind of be not as accurate as she's claiming. No surprise there.
No, you do not deserve. You, right now, unless you were a patron of mine or contributed to the lawsuit, you do not deserve anything from me. I don't owe you anything, and no, you will not be getting an update about the Onision lawsuit until the internet changes their mentality and goes back to innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, guess what's gonna turn into a bit of a problem later on down the line?
With that being said, that's it for us for now. We're not entirely done. Head back over to Ponder Sprocket's channel for part 3, where we're going to be going over this, I'm trying to think of a word for this interview, but I'm having trouble.
Trash fire is a pretty good descriptor.
Yeah, that works.
Until next time!
Enjoy the darkness.